All praises to the Most High. Kal Halal Yahweh Bahashem Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, which means all praises to the Most High in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world refers to as Jesus Christ. His name is Yahweh Shai in the Hebrew. Welcome to today's class, Enduring in Judgment. I want to wish a happy Sabbath to each and every one of you, whether you're catching it on the live or on the replay, whichever part of the world you're in right now. We want to say happy Sabbath, shalom to you and your families, all right? Blessings to you and your families and your loved ones, all right? All praises. So we're going to get straight into it, all right? No chaser, no lollygagging, no dilly-dallying. Enduring in the truth. Now, just as a prelude, one of the things you're going to have to understand when you come into this truth, there's some things you're going to have to endure. There's some things that it's not going to be easy to deal with. It's not going to be easy to stomach. It's not going to be easy to swallow. In fact, it'll be so rough, it'll be the very thing that takes some of you out the truth. Some of you, keyword, some. Now, it's not my desire that any tragedy or any difficult trial, fiery trial, should take you out of here. But I know, based on how the scriptures are set up, it will take some of you out of here. And when I say out of here, I mean out the truth. Completely. This class is so that you can solidify within your soul that you will never let anything take you out this truth, ever. Not tragedy, not loss, not a fiery trial, nothing. Because again, there's some things you're going to have to stomach. And if you don't develop a strong stomach right now, you may not survive what the Lord has planned. Now, no one knows what the Lord has planned for them around the corner. I know some of you may think that when it comes to this truth, once you start keeping the commandments, everything will just start going well. Everything will turn around, everything will get better, everything will be all right. But, sorry, I got to bust your bubbles. No, it's best I bust it now than for reality to bust it for you. All right? Let Cap lay you down easy. There is a side to this truth that people start to curse God. People start to accuse Him. And thus they leave. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've heard it with my own ears. People accuse God of their condition, and that they're in the truth, they're seemingly in the truth. But now that each of you have learned, when you first come into the truth, you're not in the truth as yet. What are you doing? You're working to get in the truth. You're working to do what the Bible says. And once you have down packed the things that you're supposed to be doing, then you can manfully say you're in the truth. But you're working to get in the truth. It's just that persons like that didn't stick around or endure long enough to realize I'm not yet in the truth. I started keeping the Sabbath, yes, I'm not yet in the truth. I started wearing fringes, yet I'm not yet still in the truth as yet. I'm doing certain things. I'm coming to maybe the new moon, I'm not yet in the truth. I'm trying to get in the truth, but it's a process. And some people aborted the process way too early to actually get in the truth. So doing one or two of the commandments doesn't mean you're in the truth. And I think everyone here at TOC understands that. You're working and rehearsing the righteous acts to a level of perfection so that you get in the truth. If your house not in order, then you're not in the truth. You can't be. There's no way. The scriptures don't say that. All right? But you're working. The thing is, here, we focus on progress. We don't focus on the problems. We focus on the progress. What must we do to get in the truth? Yes, all praises. So again, there's some bitter parts to this truth. Some of you have experienced some of it already. Some of you, you have no idea what's around the corner. But it's there. And the Lord has it around the corner. And that thing will determine whether or not you're going to stay in this truth or not. Everyone has their own set trial that will face them. You don't know what it is. You can't predict it. You can't preempt it. You can't figure it out because you're not the Most High. Your job is to do one thing and one thing only. Stay in this truth and endure. No one knows what will befall us. But don't let whatever befall you be the thing that makes you accuse God, curse him, and then leave the truth. Don't you dare do it. I've never teach my men to do that. Ever. Good. So we're going to start from the book of Psalms, chapter 34 and verse 19.
Reading from the book of Psalms 34, verse 19. Many are the difficulties of the righteous, but the Lord delivered him out of them all.
Now it says the afflictions are many in this truth. When you're in this truth, you're going to get many afflictions. How much afflictions? A little bit? No, many. You're going to get many. Prepare for many. It comes with the territory. You will get much afflictions, right? But it says, but the Lord delivers you out of all of them. Not some of them. All of them. Now, what may look like deliverance to the Lord may not look like deliverance to you. But it's deliverance nonetheless. The Lord may have saved you from going deeper and spiraling deeper into a worse situation. But to you, you look like you suffered great loss, great tragedy. But if you looked at it through the Most High's lenses, you would realize I didn't really suffer loss at all. I was being protected. So again, he delivers us out of them all, not some. But I want you to plug that in your brain for a little second when it comes to many are the afflictions. Many are the difficulties. It says many. So understand that about the truth right now. You're going to face many difficulties, many afflictions. The Lord has it set that way. All right? Good. So once you understand that base understanding, you will not question and wonder to yourself, oh, why am I going through this? Why am I experiencing this? Why am I facing such a trial? Are we good, Andy? Okay, good. Why am I facing it? Why? Because many are the afflictions of the righteous. So when you hear people in the world say, and you're warning them and you're telling them, listen, if you don't come into this truth, you're going to face a lot of hardships, more hardships. They're going to say to you what? Well, everybody go through things. You've heard that, right? When you're trying to admonish someone, they tell you what? Well, we all face things. This is true. But the difference is, or the flip side is, when it comes to those keeping the commandments, the Lord delivers those who keeping the commandments out of the afflictions. But what happens to those who stay breaking the commandments? Let's find out. Read on.
He keepeth all his bones, not one of them is broken.
Meaning that he will preserve you. Read on.
Verse 21. Evil shall slay the wicked, and they that hate the righteous shall be desolate.
Wow. Evil shall slay the wicked. So this is what's laid up for the wicked. The Lord has evil laid up for them. Those who will not repent. Those who will not change their life to come and keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. He has evil laid up for them. That is what will befall you should you not change. Should you not repent. All right? It says, evil shall slay the wicked. And it says, they that hate the righteous shall be desolate. Meaning, those who just hate your guts because you keep the Sabbath. Right? Because you wear your fringes. Because you keep the feast days. Because you have genuine love for your brothers. They hate that. When you see genuine love between brothers, you know what wicked spirits try to do? They try to break up that. They say, oh, I see Brother Aitan and Soldier Gabar. They tight. They got true brotherhood. I hate that thing. I'm going to break up that thing. And that's what people do. You know how they do it? They don't do it obviously like just come between you and then start separating y'all. Just a few words in one ear. Oh, Colonel, you heard what Daniel said about you? He said some things that no one should absolutely repeat. And once that takes wings, what happens? It takes wings and it goes all around. Now everybody got Brother Daniel to kill. Because that's what those spirits do. They try to separate, cheaply separate friendship and brotherhood. But it says, the Lord has evil laid up for persons like that, who do things like that. All right? What verse we at? That was verse 21. Let's jump back a few chapters. Let's go back to Psalms chapter 11. Psalms 11 and starting from verse 5.
Reading from the book of Psalms 11, chapter 5. The Lord trieth the righteous, but the wicked and him that loveth violence, his soul hateth.
So it says, the Lord, he tries the righteous. What does it mean by he tries the righteous, Soldier Gabar? He tries the righteous. He gonna try you. You're keeping these commandments, he gonna try you. What does that mean? Okay, good. He gonna make you face some heavy afflictions. He gonna try you. But it says, but the wicked and him that love violence, his soul what? Hateth. So the Lord does hate. He hates the wicked. Those who break his commandments. Those who refuse to keep the Sabbath. Those who have an excuse. Every time you ask them to keep God's laws, they have an excuse. Well, I can't do it because of this or because of that. And those who love violence. Those who love contention. Right? Those who just love to tear down and kill. They don't like life. They don't like to speak life. They like to speak death. The Lord hates that thing. And he hates the person doing that thing. It says, his soul hateth, right? Verse 6.
Verse 6. Upon the wicked he shall rain snares, fire and brimstone.
Fire and brimstone.
And a horrible tempest.
Horrible storm.
This shall be the portion of their cup.
This is the portion of their cup. Horrible storms in your life. And some people, of course, you know, we all face horrible storms, yes? Absolutely. And sometimes it feels like the storm is never ending, yes? And it feels like this storm just not going. You know, a hurricane comes, it destroys and it moves on. Well, some storms that the Lord brings, they just park right there and they don't move, right? They just stay there and they just keep intensifying and getting stronger. And they might calm down for a little bit. There's a little lull in the storm, a little bright there, but then the storm comes right back. The storm didn't go anywhere, right? It says this is what happens to the wicked. So I want you to understand the difference. Both righteous and wicked, you will get storms, you will get afflictions. But the Lord will deliver you, the righteous, you who keeping the commandments, you who are endeavoring to be righteous, he will deliver you out of it. But those who are being wicked and steadfast in their wickedness and not repenting and not changing, that storm will stay right there. Right there. It won't go anywhere. Follow me. All right? It says this is the portion of their cup. In other words, this is what they deserve. This is the recompense for their actions of not changing. Yes? All praises. 1 Peter 4, verse 16.
Reading from the book of 1 Peter, chapter 4 and verse 16. Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed.
If you suffer as a what?
As a Christian.
A follower of Yahushua the Christ. If you suffer in the truth, if you suffer as a man that's endeavoring to do what Christ commanded you to do, you're suffering. He says, if any man suffer as a Christian. So you're going to suffer as a Christian, right? So now, he's saying, yet if, as if the if is conditional, right? If. But it ain't so much conditional, he's just letting you know. The if is that because you're going to. But he's letting you, it's almost like he's giving you your bullet points and letting you know how to endure, right? He's saying if should you suffer as a follower of Christ in this truth, but he's also letting you know that you will suffer as a follower of Christ. He's like reading you the manual. When you sign up for the truth and you get the manual read to you, this is the manual being read to you. Right? Read on.
Let him not be ashamed.
Oh, stop right there. It says, let him not be a what?
Ashamed.
So wait, why are some people so ashamed or so embarrassed about what they're going through as a follower of Yahushua the Christ? They don't want nobody to know. They want to hide somewhere in a room where no one sees them ever again. They don't want to see the light of day ever again. They don't want to venture out into the community or into the world ever again. They don't want nobody to see them ever again. Why? Because they're ashamed of what they're going through. Why? They don't want anyone to know. You know why followers of Christ, followers of Yahushua, feel ashamed when they're going through affliction? Now, he's telling you not to be ashamed, which means most persons, when they're going through affliction, they feel what? Ashamed. But here's the question. Why do you think persons feel ashamed when they're going through affliction? What are they thinking? They're thinking a number of things. One, I don't want nobody to judge me. That's number one. I don't want nobody to think what I'm going through is because I sinned some great sin. Job's friends asked him, brother, you sin against the Lord? What you do? Job said, I ain't do nothing. Job wasn't ashamed. Job put it all for everyone to see what he's going through. Some of you hide and run and hop and skip and hide when you're going through something. I don't want nobody to know. I want everybody to think everything is all blessed with me. You're going off. Read it again for me.
Verse 16. Yet, if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God on this behalf.
Let him glorify God on his behalf. In other words, what should you do? Should you suffer great loss, great tragedy, or you're going through a fiery trial in the truth as a follower of Yahushua? What should you do when you go through these things? Glorify God by doing what though? How should you glorify God? Okay, you're going through the suffering, but you attribute what you're going through to Him, as in you're giving praises, you're giving glory to Him while going through. Don't run and hide. Now, what kind of spirit does someone have if they're ashamed of their trial? What kind of spirit? Okay, fearful. What kind? It's pride. It's pride. It is pride. Your pride will not allow you to let others see you go through what the Lord is putting you through. But guess what? If you're really in the truth, if you're really in the spirit, don't hide it. Let it be known. I'm going through this. I'm going to overcome this with y'all's help, y'all's prayers. People can't pray for you if they don't know what you're going through. People can't assist you if they don't know. You want it to be a secret. You want to hide behind closed doors. You want to appear as though everything is all right. Everything is good. How are you doing, brother? Everything is amazingly blessed. Why are you lying? Well, I'm just hoping it's going to be. That's the new thing they use, right? I'm just hoping. I'm just speaking it into existence. I'm speaking it into the atmosphere. What you should do is give God the glory by letting the persons around you know, your accountability partner. I'm not saying just go out and broadcast to the world. That's not what I'm saying. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying go out and declare to the world that, hey, I'm going through this problem. I'm saying you have brothers and sisters around you that can help you. You have leadership that can give you counsel. You have sisters that can give you counsel. Don't try to come after them with this, because I'm going to tell you something. The person who is assigned to you, your accountability, they already know you're going to things. They know. They don't have to come to you and tell you, brother, I know you're going through. They don't have to come and tell you that, brother, I know you're going through it. Because they're employed by the Most High through the Spirit as an overseer, as a steward. And if they're a steward, the Lord equips them. They can see right through you. No, nobody can see. All I got to do is just stay here and say, I'm blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. And everybody going to believe it. They've been assigned to you. They can see through you. But your job isn't to try and hide it. Oh, I'm not going through nothing. I'm blessed. Your job is to glorify God while admitting that you are facing these things. Everyone understands? So don't try to hide your afflictions because you're embarrassed. You're ashamed. I don't want nobody to know. That's pride. God says he suffers not the prideful. And guess what that means? If you got pride, you ain't never coming out of that thing. I'm sorry. You ain't never coming out of that thing. Ever. Because your pride won't allow you to be real with yourself and real with those around you. You ain't coming out of that thing. You're going to go through that storm that parks right over you and stays there. Like he mentions in the book of Psalms, the tempest that he brings, because you're being prideful, you're being wicked. You don't want nobody to know you're going through this thing when the Lord actually put it in your life so that you actually be real with someone. Be real with those around you. Build the relationships around you. That's one of the reasons why he give you affliction, so you could be real with the people around you. You can't be real in a bubble by yourself. But it goes back to what? One of the classes that we had where people don't trust. Who remembers that class? People don't. Oh, if I tell this person what I'm going through, they're going to take all my business and they're going to run out a road with it. So what? Everybody knows that everybody going through something. At least you suffering for the Lord. If your sufferings came as a result because you're going through this truth, the more people know, the better. Listen to me. The more people, I don't want nobody know. I don't want to. You're suffering for the Lord. You want to conceal that in a dark room? So when the Lord rewards you, how you want him to reward you? Openly, right? I want everybody to know the Lord blessing me. Oh, he said he's going to make me a table in the presence of my enemies. You want that. You want that part. But then you don't want no one to know what you're going through. Oh, so you want the glory part without the suffering part. I see. Or you want to suffer in silence. Well, guess what, children? Suffering in silence means you will never get the requisite help that you need. Listen to me, Israel. Do not suffer in silence. It is not a mark of strength. It is not a mark of that the Lord made me strong. It is stupid. Listen to me. It is stupid to suffer in silence. Those evil spirits, they know once they got you alone, you'll never get the help you need. A closed mouth doesn't get fed. You'll stay there wondering why nobody's sending help for me, why nobody on me call, nobody calling me, no text coming through. No, Lord, well, I've been praying. Yeah, He's been sending people to ask you what's going on with you, and you just, everything's good. The Lord send people every day, every day, every day, every day. He's been answering your prayer. Lord, take me out of this situation. Show me what I need to do to get out. And He's been sending persons every day. Brother such and such, everything's okay? Well, everything's all right. I good, man. I good. So you're rejecting the prayers that the Lord been answering. He's sending help every day. And you're rejecting the help every day. So read that again for me, please. Where it says, if any man suffer as a Christian. Call the book.
Verse 16. Sorry, 1 Peter 4, verse 16. Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God on this behalf.
Now, some people think that if they go through just a little bit of suffering, that's okay to tell people. You know, I didn't have enough for this bill here, you know, and the Lord saved me out of it. So, you know, it's a small thing. But larger things, people conceal. Because they think they're going to be judged. And people going to call them wicked. They say, brother, you doing what? You did what? How are you in the truth and you did that? So they just don't say nothing. They're like, I'm going to just let it blow over. I ain't going to say nothing. I like them bold brothers that, listen, they know they did wrong. And they're going to confess that thing. And they're going to seek the requisite help that they need. And they're going to move on from that. You're going to see people like that moving up the ranks. Because they're not ashamed. They wear it on their sleeve like Yahushua. Yahushua wasn't ashamed of what. Yahushua would shed tears openly and weep for the people openly. Like, but some of you brothers is like, oh, you too. You're too macho to let your true what you're going through show. That's weak. It's not macho. It's weak. If the greatest man that ever lived and ever walked the earth wore his afflictions on his sleeve, he said he was a man of many what? Sorrows. If he could do that and you're trying to mimic him, but you're too macho to even let those around you know, brother, I'm facing a great dilemma. Or sis, I'm facing such a dilemma. But you've been praying and asking God to get you out of the dilemma. And brother's been asking you, brother, share with me. Well, I could see you going through some things. What's good? And you, no, I'm all right. I'm good. Everything is good for the most part. Just a little, you know, a little 1-2 thing. Like, you know, last month came and couldn't really deal with this bill or that. When you know it's deeper than that. You know it! You know you're going through hell and back in a basket. But you're ashamed. Brothers, sisters, stop letting pride make you feel ashamed or fearful to admit what's really going on and what you're really facing. The Lord let you go through it so that you could be accountable to your accountability partners and those who are around you to help you out of it. You weren't meant to go through it in a bubble, in a dark room, alone under the bed by yourself. That's all Cap will say on that. Those who have ears to hear, let them hear. Give me verse 17.
Verse 17. For the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of God. And if the first begin at us, what shall be the end of them that obey not the gospel of God?
Good. So understand this. You come into this truth, judgment begins with us. I know when we come into the truth, it's fiery and it's hot. You want to go rebuke the nations. You want to go rebuke your own people. You want to go tell them, get in order, get in order. But understand this. Judgment going to start with y'all. Why? Y'all have employed yourself to this truth. You have made a covenant and an oath to come back and keep these commandments. Judgment will begin first at you. The Lord spanks his children first. And that time has been going out since that time till now. You understand that? Since these words were written and codified till now, it's that time. So make no mistake about it, Israel. When you come in this truth, you're going to suffer some things. And some of those things going to be some things that if you don't develop the stomach to stomach it now, you better would had through some of these classes. And that is why we teach in the way we teach here. Because it's to prepare you for the things that are inevitable in this. I can't be going to sit down here and lie to you and let you know everything will be all right and it's going to be okay. And once you keep the commandments, you're going to be absolutely fine. And everything in your life will just fix itself. The Lord will fix it. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. That is not what the scriptures say. All right? Judgment begins, meaning it's going to come to y'all primarily first. It has to. And don't worry about the judgment of the world. The Lord has it laid up for them. You have to work out your own soul salvation with fear and trembling. 100%. So start thinking about that. Every move you make, every word you speak, every thought you think is being recorded. So walk straight. Walk straight. It says, what shall be the end of them that obey not the gospel of God? They have an end coming for them. Don't you worry about them. The book of Sirach or Ecclesiasticus says, don't worry about the end of the world and what will happen to them. They have something laid up for them. Good. Give me verse 18.
Verse 18. And if the righteous scarcely be saved.
If the righteous scarcely be saved. It ain't much out of all of Israel that are going to be saved. 1/3 will be saved. So imagine if the righteous going to scarcely be saved. Read on.
Where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear?
So what's going to be their judgment? Imagine if our judgment. Imagine, you go through so much tough things in this truth. As someone who follows Christ and someone who does what Christ commands. And I know it. Trust me, Israel. I know it. I feel it. I sympathize with many of you. I know you're going through a lot. Those who's watching the class right now, you're going through so much. You feel like there's no one who truly understands the level of what you're going through. You've suffered tragedy. You've suffered pain. You suffered heartache. You suffered betrayal. You suffered great loss. You suffered all of it. And you feel like no one understands. No one truly knows the level of how it affects me and how I feel. I know it can feel like that sometimes. I know. And no matter who you talk to, you just feel like that person don't understand. They may hear me, but they don't truly understand. And that pains you even more. Thinking that no one understands. I know. It is rough. And I do empathize and sympathize with all of you. All right? Because I know the depths of what we can go through in this truth. Okay? Now, read on.
Verse 19. Wherefore, let them that suffer according to the will of God commit the keeping of their souls to him in well-doing as unto a faithful creator.
So I know what you thinking, that no one understands. No one truly knows how I feel. I get up every morning, I put a smile on my face. No one knows what I'm going through. I know how you feel. You're going through that pain, and you said to yourself, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to show up still, I'm going to do what I have to do, but no one truly knows how I feel. Israel, I know. Sometimes you cry yourself to sleep at night. Israel, I know. Sometimes you feel like if the Lord could just take me out of this situation. Israel, I know. It's not easy, especially in this truth. No one sees the tears. No one sees the sleepless nights that you go through. No one knows the anguish in your soul that you feel. But you still put a good countenance on your face and you tell everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and you put a smile. Even though inside of your soul is burning. It's on fire. No one knows truly how it feels. And you cry out to God many a nights and you wonder, when will my prayer be answered? But it says here, wherefore let them that suffer, let them that go through this thing, let them that face the fiery trial, let them that face in this great loss or tragedy, it says, it's according to the what? It's according to the what? What is it according to? According to the what? The will of God. It's according to the will of God. Remind yourself that, Israel. What you're going through is according to His will. It will help you to stomach what you're facing. Absolutely, it says it's according to the will of God. But not only that, it says the keeping of their souls to Him in well-doing. In what? In well what? You know what is the well-doing? You staying in this truth. You not giving up. You still showing up and showing out. You still doing what is commanded of you. You're not using your trial or your tragedy or your loss or your anguish to say, I can't go on anymore. I can't face it anymore. It says, the souls of them in well-doing, well-doing. In well-doing. Why? Read the last part. As unto
a faithful Creator.
Because the Lord Yahweh is faithful. That's why you will continue. Even though I know it hurts, Israel. It feels like you're going through torture and anguish, Israel. I know. But the Lord, He is faithful. I'm not lying to you. Sometimes people give up right when they were about to break through. You give up. You abort the mission right as the Lord was about to turn that thing around. You give up. You drowned in your tears. Don't drown in your tears, Israel. Cry for a moment, but don't cry forever. Use that energy to do well-doing. It says right here, in well-doing. Means don't stop. You may get tired for a moment, but don't stop. Rest if you have to, but don't you stop. Pause if you have to. Collect your thoughts if you have to. Put things in perspective if you have to. Get counsel if you have to, but don't you dare stop in well-doing, meaning the keeping of the commandments. Don't you stop. Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 1.
Reading from the book of Hebrews, chapter 12 and verse 1. Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which does so easily beset us. And let us run with patience the race that is set before us.
Let us run with patience. Let us run with patience. Israel, you're going to have some patience and give the Lord some time. Again, have some patience. The Lord has patience with you. When you're trying to get this truth right, when you're trying to keep these commandments right, He's having patience with you. You know how many times you messed up? How many odd times you didn't do what you were supposed to do according to the scriptures. You made an error. You know how many odd times you faltered or relapsed or went back into relapse mode or default mode, you know. And you caught yourself. Those were all the times when the Lord could have executed judgment on you, but he had patience with you. All I'm asking you, Israel, is have a little patience with the Most High God, please. He has patience with us. Let us also have patience with him. There were times when he could have took Israel out of here, but he had patience with us. Can we at least extend the same to him? Can we? And have a little patience, can we? Don't go through your trial and say, you know what? I've had it with this. I've been praying for the last 3 years and nothing ain't happened. Can you have a little patience with the Lord, please? How many times he's had patience with us and our forefathers where he could have wiped us out? And he chose not to because he remembered his covenant. He says he's a faithful creator. Have a little patience with him, Israel. That's all I'm asking you. Please. Feel that thing from in the bottom of your spirit. Hold on, Israel. Do not let go. I know it's tough and you feel like no one knows the depths of what you're going through. But tighten your grip a little more when you're feeling weak. So it says, which doth so easily beset us, and let us run with patience. You may be running and you feel tired. You may be running and you're running out of breath. You may be running and you can't catch your breath and you may need to pause and catch your breath, but have a little patience. Keep running. Drink some water if you have to, but keep running. If you get a stitch, pause for a little bit, catch yourself. You know what a stitch is. You drink too much water and you start running again. You catch a stitch. Don't quit. Keep on running. You may have to slow down the pace a bit, but keep running. You may have to run in formation for a little bit, but keep running. Don't stop. The race that is set before. What's the race? This truth. From the moment you start, you have to finish the race. Don't start the race and then abort. Don't start the race and then quit. The race was the moment it began when you said, yes, I will keep these commandments. Yes, I will keep the Lord's laws. Yes, I will repent in Yahweh the Christ and be in this truth. That's the moment your race started. You may think about quitting the race. Yes, the thought may cross your mind 100 times a day. That may happen. But don't you do it, Israel. Don't you quit the race. All right, verse 2.
Verse 2. Look unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith.
So you're supposed to look to Yahweh. Remember what he went through. He didn't quit the race. Even when he was on the cross, in pain and agony, he never quit the race. Read on.
Who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is sat down at the right hand of the throne of God.
So where is he now? At the right hand of the Most High Yahweh. That's where he is now. Where was he before? On the cross, suffering what? Shame and persecution for something that he never did. Wrongfully imprisoned. He suffered that. He suffered the shame that you and I probably couldn't even bear. But it says, look to him. That is who you model your life after in this truth. Look to him. If you ever think about quitting the race, look to him and realize that although great loss and great tragedy may occur in this truth, do not quit the race. And every time you think about quitting the race, look to him. Think about what he suffered on that cross. That should make you say, you know what, Yahweh, if you were that faithful that you never quit on us, I won't quit on you. I will not quit on you, Yahweh Shai. Don't you quit on him. He never quitted on you. Verse 3.
Verse 3. For consider him that endured such contradiction of sinners against himself.
Of sinners against himself. Meaning that the sinners were supposed to be the one on the cross. They were supposed to be the ones suffering what he endured. But I always said this, every time when you're supposed to be in a contrite spirit and you can't get there, consider what Christ endured. Every time you're supposed to be sorrowful for your sins and what you did, consider what he endured. Every time you're fasting and you're praying and you just can't get your soul to be in that place of sorrowfulness, consider what he endured. Picture him, that black man on the cross dying a wrongful death. Wrongly imprisoned, wrongfully dying, taking on the affliction of the sinners. Consider it when you think about quitting. Read on.
Lest ye be wearied and faint in your minds.
Lest you be wearied when you want to quit. Lest you be weary and you want to abort the mission. Lest you be weary and you say, I want to break from TOC. I want to break from the truth. I want to break. That's how it starts. You get weary and you're tired and you're going through what you're going through and you just can't deal with it. When the Lord just been trying to refine you. He's been trying to work out of you the thing that you don't want to get out of you, and he's been refining you. So instead of allowing him to refine you, you quit the race. You get weary. You abort the mission, and then you start lying to yourself and say, I'm just going to take a break from TOC. From TOC. You fool yourself into, I'm going to stay in the truth, but I'll take a break from TOC. Well, if you take a break from TOC, well, guess what's going to happen? You got commandments that you're going to by default. You're going to be breaking. What's that? Okay, good. You can't gather. Well, I'll gather with those online. You start fooling yourself. Guess what? You start dropping out the truth more and more. But somehow, you convince yourself, I am fully in the truth. Where are my fringes? They got brothers right now who left this school. They're wearing fringes and there ain't nothing they could do to get back in this truth unless they undo what they did. And let me let that be clear to some of you brothers. Unless you undo what you did, like for instance, there's a law that says, thou shalt not commit adultery. In Revelation it says, and in the book of Corinthians and the book of Galatians it says, no adulterer will enter the kingdom. So you might see some brothers who left and they're in adultery right now. There's nothing they can do to get in the kingdom other than undoing what they did. Nothing. It doesn't matter about the new situation right now. It says no adulterer will enter the kingdom. So they can wear all the fringes that they want. That don't make them legal for the kingdom. They have to undo what they did. And the only how to undo that is to go and reverse and go back to your previous state of what you were in. Let me let that be clear to the young brothers. So don't let the fringes and all them things fool y'all. Oh, he fringed up and if he doesn't go back and undo, it says, unless we're going to erase Galatians, then it says, no adulterer will enter the kingdom. You got to undo that scripture. And Revelation says it too. No adulterer, no whoremonger. They cannot enter the kingdom. All right? But don't you end the race, Israel, because things get hard, things get rough. People don't understand what you're going through. People don't understand your situation. It brings tears to your eyes at night. All of those things may be true. And you may be feeling like you want to quit because you feel like you're not cut out for this. But the reason why you're going through it is because you are cut out for it. Understand that. But consider him. It says, consider Christ when you're thinking about being weary, thinking about quitting, thinking that I'm going to take a break from it ain't no break from the truth. Your life is the truth. Everything from what you eat, wear, celebrate, your life is the truth. How could you take a break from the truth? There's no breaks in the truth. What does a break in the truth really mean? Who could tell me? A break from the truth really means what? Okay, you're not in the truth. You're not in the truth for that moment where you're taking a break from the truth. You left the truth. Even before you actually got, but the thing is, if you were in the truth, you would understand, listen, I cannot take a break from the truth because the truth is life. All right, verse 4.
Verse 4. Ye have not yet resisted unto blood, striving against sin.
So, if some of you never got to that level where Christ got to, where he resisted, striving against sin, resisted unto blood. You know, the scripture said that he faced such torment that he sweat blood. Christ sweat blood. If some of you never faced such great anguish where you sweat blood, then trust me, you have not gone through the levels that a man could reach, humanly reach, if you have not sweat blood. So tell yourself, whatever you're going through, if it ain't make you sweat blood yet, take up your cross and follow Christ. So I don't want to hear, Cap, I can't do it. Have you sweat blood as yet? If not, my advice to you, keep on going. Keep on continuing on the mission. Don't quit the race. Okay? And even when you do sweat blood, did Christ said, okay, Father, I sweat blood. That's the level where I'm going to stop. Okay, Father, that's it. I reached that level. I sweat blood, so that's the Father's I'll go. Once I sweat blood, that's it. Abort the mission now. He didn't do that. Even after he sweat blood, he still finished the race. So it says, you have not yet resisted unto blood, striving against sin. Read on.
Verse 5. And ye have forgotten the exhortation, which speaketh unto you as unto children. My son, despise not thou the chastising of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him.
So don't faint when you get corrected and whipped by the Lord. The Lord will whip some of us. All right? Some of us got to get some licks in this truth to straighten us out by the Lord. And the Lord will absolutely do that. But don't get weary. Don't falter. Don't say, I'm quitting the truth because the Lord is lashing me. Don't you dare do that. Because as a good father, he must straighten us out. The straightening out comes with certain turmoil, fiery trials, things that you will face in this truth. It comes with that. It's to straighten you out because you started making the commitment to walk straight. But the issue with walking straight is you're going to make what? Mistakes. It's to show us the human side of us, that you need Christ. You think you could keep these commandments without Christ? Forget about it. The moment you start in this truth, you don't start to make mistakes already. The moment you start. Some of you on your first day of atonement, you wake up next morning. Oh, I'm not supposed to drink water. I forget. You run in the closet. You say, oh, forgive me. You're going to make mistakes because you're learning how to walk. My son, he just turned 1. He's learning how to take his steps. He's getting up, taking his steps. 3 steps, he popped down. He hold on the chair. He popped down. He might bump his head. He don't stop and say, you know what? This walking thing is a little too difficult for me. You know what? I'm good on all this. I will sit here until I grow into a teenager and I will sit on the floor until that time comes and then I will begin walking. No, that doesn't happen. What does a baby do? A baby, no matter how much times it fall, you will see it do what? Get up and start ramping again. Bumpy head, bang, you come, what happened? Oh, you were just trying to walk? Those things will happen. But you will never hear a baby say, Mommy, I'm going to just stay here and just till I turn 10. That would be insanity. Right? And guess what? if it did that, by the time it turned 10, if let's say it stayed on the ground and you pick him up, he still wouldn't know how to walk because he wasn't getting any what? Practice. This is your practice. You will fall. You will make mistakes. You will go through trials. You will bump your head. You will hurt your foot. You will knock your knees. Growing pains, it hurts, but it grows you. And now you got experience. So now when you're 10, you ain't going to make the same mistakes you made when you were 1. You know not to walk there because the cabinet jutting out that way, because you know how many times you hit your foot on the counter or the cabinet or took you some years, but you learned. Same thing in this truth. You got to learn through the chastising of the Lord. You will bump your head. He gonna smack you on your bum. He gonna smack you on your shoulders, beat you on your sides, like the scriptures say. And some of you might say, "Ow! Lord, I didn't deserve that." Yes, you did. What you mean? You committed yourself to this truth. You started trying to walk straight, but you made mistakes. Of course you deserve it. Do children think when they're getting licks, they deserve it? No. Mommy, why you hit me? Because I need to correct you. If I don't correct you, you know what's going to happen? No. Exactly, they don't know. They don't know what's going to happen to them if you don't correct them. Same thing with the Lord. You don't know what's going to happen to you if He don't correct you. So it says, don't be weary when you receive the chastising of the Lord. Don't faint when you get rebuked or corrected of Him. Verse 6.
Verse 6. For whom the Lord loveth, He chastiseth, and scourge every son whom He receiveth.
For whom the Lord loveth, He chastises. So if He loves you, you're going to get chastised in this truth. You're going to get corrected. You're going to get spanked on your bum, and it comes through judgment. But He loves you. That's why He's doing it. Now, who's the Son of God? Yahushai. Right? John 3:16 says what? For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. He gave His... You know what that means? You know how heavy that is? He gave His only begotten Son. The one who never sinned. The one who never did anything wrong. The one who didn't deserve it. The one whom He loved the most. He gave Him. How many of you could give something that you love so much and give it up to be killed? Could you do that? That means, guess what? You don't understand that love. That love is on a higher level that goes beyond the human comprehension. If you love this Son so much, you see Him born as a baby, you say, look at this beautiful baby boy. He's so handsome and so cute, and he goo goo gaga, and he watch you and he smile, and you know, he laugh at all your little coos, and you wipe his butt, and he love you so much, and when he breastfeeding, he just look up at mommy so ever so gently, and then the Lord said to you, this son here, you're going to sacrifice him to die. Could you do it? If the answer is, well, Father, I got to get back to you in 3 business days. I got to think about that. I got to pray on that. Man, the Lord is the one asking you if you could do it, but you're telling Him you got to pray to Him about it. Right? So, what I'm saying is that love of the Father, He gave His only Son. Why did He give His only Son? Because He loved His Son. That's why He gave Him. Loving Him is giving Him to be chastised. He gave Yahushai to be what? Chastised. Did Yahushai deserve it? No. Was it part of His mission? Yes. But the Lord gave Him to y'all. We didn't deserve it either. We didn't deserve that perfect lamb sacrifice, which is Christ. We didn't deserve it. We deserved death. But He said He loved the world so much, the world of Israel, that He gave us His Son. Perfect sacrifice. He gave that to us. So he loved the world so much, but he also loved who else so much? Who else did he love? So he loved the world of Israel so much that he gave us Yahushai. But who else did he love? Which is why he gave us him. Who else did he love? Who? His son. He loved Christ so much, that's why he killed him. I know that goes over some of y'all head right now. He loved Christ so much, that's why he sacrificed him. So read that part for me again. Who the Lord loveth.
Verse 6. For whom the Lord loveth, he chastiseth, and scourged every son whom he receiveth.
This verse is so heavy, I know it will go over many heads. This not only speaks to Israel getting scourged and getting chastised, it also speaks to Yahushai as well. Whom the Lord loveth, he chastises and he scourges. Yahushai didn't deserve, we deserved it, but Yahushai didn't deserve it. But he made a covenant with our forefathers. So it's double. He gave us Yahushai because he loved Yahushai so much. And he loved us so much, that is why he gave us Yahushai. We are the firstborn of him, Israel, and Yahushai is his firstborn. So double, you see it right there. He loved Yahushai so much, and he loved Israel so much. That's why he gonna scourge Yahushai, which he did. And that's why Israel, we gotta get scourged as well. He loved every son that he chastised. I hope you get it. Verse 7, because if he don't chastise you, that means he don't love you. He would let you go wayward. He would let you just do your own thing. You would be out here eating rats if it wasn't for the Lord. You would be out here eating donkey poop and calling it a luxury and calling it a delicacy if it wasn't for the Lord giving you his dietary law. And every time you break the dietary law, he got to chastise you because he loves you. He doesn't want worms in your stomach. That's why he gonna whip you and tell you not to eat that, my son. Not to eat parasites, my son. Not to eat scavengers of the sea, my daughter, because I love you. So therefore, I love you. I am going to chastise you. So you never do it again. Everyone gets it. Good. Read on.
Verse 7. If you endure the chastising, God dealeth with you as with a son, as with sons. For what son is he whom the father chastiseth not?
You're not a son if you don't get corrected. You're not a son if you don't get chastised. He's not dealing with you as a son. So if you're going through your afflictions, don't be ashamed. Tell everyone he's dealing with me as a son. He's dealing with me as a daughter. He's dealing with me. Right? The Lord is dealing with me. So don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed. Let the people around you know the Lord is dealing with me. All right? Give me verse 9. What verse was that? Good. Give me verse 8.
Verse 8. But if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then ye are bastards and not sons.
You don't want to be a bastard. So you want the Lord to deal with you. You want the Lord's affliction. You want the Lord's trials. You want the Lord's correction. You want the Lord's rebuke. You want him to straighten you out. You need it because you are a son and not a bastard. Now, if you were a bastard, you'd be somewhere in China somewhere, right? Eating dirty mongrel meat from a wet market somewhere in Singapore. That's what you would be doing because you're a bastard. You're not an Israelite. You are a bastard son or a bastard daughter. You'd be somewhere in Taiwan eating unclean foods on the street, talking about Celestes, thinking that's a delicacy. That's what you would be doing. You would be serving Buddha if you were a bastard. Okay? You would be bowing down to the Kaaba stone in Mecca if you were a bastard. You wouldn't be in this truth if you were a bastard. Everyone gets it. You'd be serving other gods if you were a bastard. Verse 9.
Verse 9. Furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh which corrected us.
So your natural parents, they corrected you when you were younger. Also, persons in this truth, they're going to correct you as well. Your natural fathers, right? Read on.
And we gave them reverence.
Uh-huh.
Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirit and live?
So the more correction you receive, the more affliction you receive in this truth, the more reverence you give the Lord. All right? The more you glory in the Lord, the more correction you receive. Verse 10.
Verse 10. For they verily for a few days chasten us after their own pleasures, but he for our profit, that we might be partakers of his holiness.
So it's for your profit. It's for your benefit that you get chastised in this truth. Everyone gets it. Everyone understands. Verse 11.
Verse 11. No chastising for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yield a peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby.
Now I know what you're going through, like I mentioned earlier. To some of you, it's very grievous. The tears never stop. It's just that you take moments of tears in between when persons see you, and then you're home, and then it goes back to the pain and the anguish that you're facing. Whether it's trouble with health-wise, trouble in the family, trouble in your situations of your household, it may be very tough to deal with. It says it may be very grievous. But it says, nevertheless, afterwards it's going to yield the peaceable fruit of righteousness. Meaning that you don't stop enduring because you're going through your affliction. You don't stop keeping God's laws because you're facing the trial. You don't take a break from the truth because you are facing the heaviness of being in this truth. You don't ever stop, because it's going to yield the peaceable fruit of righteousness. All right? That's what you want, for it to yield fruit. Good fruit. Okay? Good fruit. All praises. So, of course, I got my files. From time to time, I got to walk with my files. All right? I just want to recount a story, a true story. All right? There's many Israelite congregations all across the globe, and some stories are so big that they make it to the news. Okay? Some stories are so big that they make it to the news. Now, there was this family in the truth. They were endeavoring to keep the commandments. All right? Husband, wife. They're known by the neighbors for being very reverent and being very staunch in the truth. Everyone around them knows that when it comes to this truth, they don't play. They don't play around. They're very serious about the truth. Right? So now, they had 2 children, and their whole family in the truth. Okay, whole family in the truth. Now, this story that came on the news, all right, mentioned how they would go to the Sabbath every week. Their children, you would see them, dressing in order. They would go to weekly scripture studies. They're the family that you would love to be like. All right? They were like an inspiration. But then, after being in the truth for some years, a tragedy occurred. All right? The wife had taken the children to an aquatic center. Who knows what an aquatic center is? Is a place where you could either like swim with the dolphins, or you could, it's like a water park, but they have different amenities there, right? So the aquatic center, in the summer, the wife took the children there, and for whatever reason, there was a moment of distraction where, you know, when you have children, sisters, you could familiarize us with this. You have children, you're dealing with a lot. Sometimes you're trying to get the children them to, be in order or, have them under control. You're in a public space where there's a lot happening, right? A moment of distraction happened, and the daughter, all right? She was next to the mother as she was supposed to have been. And when the mother looked to see where the child was, right? One slip on wet concrete, right? And what happened? The younger sister of the child, she fell into the deep end of the pool. And the older brother, of course, panicking, seeing what happened, tried to run and save the sister, right? And you could imagine the crowd is frantic. The crowd is wondering what happened. People, when you start to see a crowd of people running, it's like, what's happening? What's going on? Some people run to where it's happening. Some people run away from what's happening, right? And the older brother, he running to where he know his sister was to see what happened. And he not seeing the sister. He not seeing her, right? By this time, these lifeguards and security, they coming to see what happened there by the pool. Him reaching just in time, just to see the lifeguards them pulling his sister from the water. And in hopes that she would be flailing and coughing up water, she's not moving. She's not moving. She's lifeless. She's not even coughing. Right? So, of course, the mother, she's frantic. They're trying to hold her back, saying, ma'am, we're going to take care of it. Ma'am, we're going to administer CPR. Ma'am, just hold. She's fighting to let me through. Let me through. That's my daughter. Mind you, they're in the truth. This is a family that's keeping the commandments. They rushed her to the ambulance. They're in there administering the CPR. Nothing happening. They defibrillators, everything, it's not happening. At this time, the mother is distraught. She'd rush into the hospital. She already called the husband to say, this thing happened. He can't believe. He's at scripture study, breaking down scriptures for the brothers. And he received that call to say, your daughter is lifeless in the back of an ambulance, being rushed to the hospital right now. She not breathing. She had on fringes. She had on a dress. She had on her fringes. Her brother tried to save her. He couldn't. Police had to move him back. Security had to move him back. The tears that's running down that mother's face as seeing them truck her onto a gurney into the ambulance is indescribable. This is a child that you see born with your own eyes. You pushed her out. From the moment she was born, she started wearing her fringes, started wearing her garments, Same thing with the son. From the time he was born, the parents brought him into the laws. Now, of course, they got her revived, but not revived enough where she came to. She was revived, but in a comatose state. You know what vegetative state is? Good. So she did get revived. For a whole week, they prayed. For a whole week, they fasted. For a whole week, they did intercessory prayers. The whole church came together to pray for that child. And after that week has passed, while preparing to go to the hospital to do her usual checks on her daughter to make sure she's good, she's still in a comatose state, yes, she received that phone call. And that phone call said to her, ma'am, we know this is probably usually around the time you head into the hospital, but we're so sorry to inform you that your daughter passed. So you could imagine the pain, the anguish, the turmoil that both her and her husband felt in that moment, right? Receiving that phone call that the daughter is no longer alive. Now, of course, that sends shockwaves through the congregation. That sends shockwaves through the community. Even in the neighborhood that they live, it sends shockwaves through the neighborhood, because that little girl was such a nice little girl, the neighbors said. She would always come over and play with the other little girls, and she was the nicest of the bunch. And she would always be dressed different, just in her garment, in her fringes, in her, just modestly. Whereas the other girls who weren't in the truth, they would be dressed, and you know how they dress their daughters. And the mother, she just couldn't understand. She said, listen, to her husband, I don't understand in this moment. I thought we did everything right. I thought we were living by his laws. We believed in the promises. Why would this happen? Why? Now, brothers, you're going to have to develop a very strong stomach when tragedies strike and it affects the family. You're going to have to not only hold up yourself, but you're going to have to hold up who? The rest of the family. That's why the Lord made men a little bit stronger than women. Not so you could beat your chest and say, I am a man. It's so that you can lift and carry your family on your back. That's why he made men with broad shoulders, to carry your family on your back. Because they was wondering, why? Why would this thing happen? We're living in the truth. That would make somebody question every and anything they ever believed in. And say, if we were doing that and our daughters still pass, what's the use? What's the sense? What's the meaning of it all? Maybe we should just quit. Maybe we should just stop. Maybe we should just go back into the world. Because if we did all of these commandments and we still lose our daughter, I mean, confused is an understatement. We observed the Sabbath. We prepped for the Sabbath. We came back to the covenant. The husband said to everyone in the church, they was expecting him to not come to the Sabbath anymore, not come to the new moons anymore. He had to look his wife directly in the eyes and say, baby, you listen to me. Because this thing happened doesn't mean that we're going to stop serving the Most High. You listen. He had to speak life into her in that moment, because women are more what? Emotional. Good. Not to say that men, we don't have emotions, but don't let your emotions control you or the situation. He had to speak life to her and say, woman, you know I love you. And I love this family. There's nothing I wouldn't do for this family. But understand this. What are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to stop serving the Most High because this thing happened? that means we were serving the Most High for the wrong reason. We're not serving the Most High for what we could get out of the Most High or what He can give us. We're serving the Most High because that is our reasonable sacrifice. He popped up, showed up in the congregation. Still, his weekly breakdowns, he would still give them, still exhort the brothers. And they're wondering, Mr. Sir, are you okay? Are you mad? Are you taking some time off? You need time off. He said to them, the laws of God don't change because my life changed. He said the laws of God don't change because my life has changed. They were watching him like, I don't understand. Why haven't you take time off? He said, listen, this thing that happened, I will trust him even more. He said, even if it kills me. If I turn away from this truth now, what do I have? Nothing. Nothing. So, when I heard about that report, I said, listen, this isn't a guy that was pretending that his pain didn't exist. You could look on his face and see the man is going through a tough time. His wife going through a serious burden. Right? But he solidified his faith in that moment. Like I tell you, Israel, you don't know what's around the corner for you. Not because you in this truth means tragedy can't and won't happen. It can and it will happen. But there's a purpose in it. The Lord has to see who will remain faithful in the midst of tragedy. Can you do it? That is the real test of faith. Not if, oh, well, I'm seeing if I could, have enough money to pay my bills at the end of the month. You ain't gone through trial yet. And tell yourself this. If you haven't gone through trial as yet, should it make you wonder, what does the Lord have in store for me? The greater the level where He has for you to go is the greater thing that you must endure. So stop thinking about, it's just all, peaches and cream once you start doing these commandments, and you're thinking about how I'm going to be living so gloriously once I get my life in order. Listen, right around the corner when you get your life in order, the Lord could just send you a serious shock wave that shocks through your entire bloodline. It rattles your entire bloodline. And when you start thinking about that, reverence the Lord on that level. Like, Lord, I don't know what you have in store for me, but whatever it is, I'm not going to stop serving you. Again, the gentleman said, he's in the truth. His life doesn't change. Sorry, God's laws doesn't change because his life changed. I hope that resonates with some of you this morning. Because to this day, he's still standing in this truth. He's gotten more children, yes. And of course, it never replaces the one that you lost. Of course not. But the Lord, he multiplies. The Lord replenishes. The Lord, after you've endured, once it's in his will, he absolutely replenishes. Give me the book of Job, chapter 1. Start from verse 13.
Reading from the book of Job, chapter 1. starting at verse 13. And there was a day when the sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in the eldest brother's house.
Now, Job was absolutely in the truth. Okay? He even prayed over his children who were sometimes breaking the commandments. He prayed and sacrificed for them. Read on.
And there came a messenger unto Job and said, the oxen were plowing, and the asses feeding beside them.
Read.
Verse 15. And the Sabians fell upon them, and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee.
So Job is receiving the information that his flocks that were feeding, right? It says they got slain. Verse 16, now ox, I don't know about y'all, but back then, if you lose even one ox, you've lost a lot of money. Read on.
Verse 16. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the fire of God is fallen from heaven, and had burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee.
Wow. So while he was still yet speaking, the fire of God fell from heaven and it burned up the sheep. More of his livestock is being consumed. Read on.
Verse 17. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the Chaldeans made all three bands, and fell upon the camels, and has carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone am escaped to tell thee.
It seems like all of Job's resources are going down the drain, right? Read on.
Verse 17. While he was yet verse 17. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the Chaldeans made out three bands, and fell upon the camels, and have carried them away, yea, and have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone am escaped alone to tell thee.
Read on.
Verse 18. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in the eldest brother's house.
Wow, his sons and his daughters. You would think he would stop just at the animals and the livestock. Read on.
And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the four corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I alone am escaped, alone to tell thee.
Now remember when the Lord had a conversation with who? Shatan or Satan, right? And Satan said, what? Well, you're not going to allow anyone to do anything to Job because you have a hedge of what around him, a hedge of protection. And the Lord said, well, I will remove that hedge of protection, and you can do to him what you will, but anything but just don't kill him. Don't kill him. So now, havoc start to reap on Job. Now, just backtracking, there was a class I mentioned to each and every one of you that there are consultations that happen in the heavens concerning what? Concerning the judgments that will happen to you. So understand, we read a verse earlier in this class that says, whatever you're facing, right? It's because of what? It has to do with what? The glory of the Lord. You're going through it because the Lord is the one putting you through it. Good. Keep that in mind. Read on.
Verse 20. Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head.
Shaved his head.
And fell down upon the ground and worshipped.
And fell down upon the ground. And so he did what? He rent his mantle, meaning he tore his clothes. He was in mourning, right? Because we mourned by tearing our garments and shaving our heads. I know y'all see me with my head shaved. No, I ain't mourning, all right? It's just a new era, that's all. But Job, he fell down on the ground. He worshipped. He did what? He worshipped. He did not go into questioning as to why. That wasn't his first reaction. He did not say, why me? The question should be, why not me? That's some of the questions some of you should be asking yourselves. Well, why not me? I am fit for this trial. He worshipped, he worshipped, he worshipped. That's the first thing he did. He mourned, yes, but he worshipped. Verse 21.
Verse 21. And said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord had taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord.
So he accepted the fact that I didn't come into this world with anything. What makes me think that I deserve anything? Anything that the Lord gives me other than what I came into the world with is a what? Is a blessing. Think of it this way. You came with nothing. But the Lord blesses you with something that's something more than what you came into the world with. But if you came with nothing and he takes away everything, understand you didn't come with anything. I want you to get that. Okay? So, he accepted the reality. And before accepting the reality, he worshiped. The thing that will get some of you through what you're going through is worshiping the Lord. How do you worship the Lord? By making sure you keep his laws, statutes, and commandments, and thank him for everything that you're going through, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Don't be like, well, Lord, I thank you for the good things and the not so good things. Well, I ain't going to mention those things. No, thank him for the good, the bad, and the ugly. You worship him for all of it. All right? It says what? Naked I came out of my mother's womb. Naked I'm going to return. But he said, blessed be the name of the Lord. You're going through your fiery trial? Utter those words. Blessed be the name of Yahweh. You're going through the fire. No one knows. Utter those words. Blessed be the name of Yahweh. Let him hear it. Let it come from the depths of your soul and mean it. Blessed be the name of Yahweh. Things not looking up. Blessed be the name of Yahweh. You meet a roadblock around the road that you never expected. Blessed be the name of Yahweh. Don't you utter those words of, I don't deserve this. No, 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 no. Verse 22.
Verse 22. In all this Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly.
He didn't sin or charge God foolishly. He didn't leave the truth. He didn't say, I need a break from this truth. Now, if you suffered loss, you lost everything, your house, your children, your money, everything to your name, you would say, hey, Cap, listen, I need a break, right? You're not going to see me for at least the next 3 to 6 months. I need to take a break. Job didn't do that. He didn't sin. He didn't stop keeping the feast days, the Sabbath, none of that. He says he didn't sin. He didn't transgress. He still stayed in the truth. Can you do that and suffer all of the great loss that Job suffered? Can you actually do that? If you don't think you're at that place yet, then you need to come up a little higher. The Lord is calling you higher. But he didn't charge God foolishly. What does that mean? He didn't say, well, Lord, why me? Lord, I don't deserve this. Lord, you should have did this to somebody else. He didn't do that. He said, blessed be the name of Yahweh. That's what he said. Learn that. Understand that. I want you to feel that. in the depths of your spirit. Because guess what Job understood? I'm going to show you what he understood. Job 11 and verse 6. You're familiar with this. Job 11 and 6.
Reading from the book of Job, chapter 11, verse 6. And that he will show thee the secrets of wisdom, and they are double to that which is.
So when it comes to the Lord's wisdom, it's actually double than what you actually see on the surface. Read on.
Know therefore that God exacted of thee less than thine iniquity deserved.
But it also means on the flip side of the coin, whatever you're going through, you actually deserve double. You actually deserve double. You actually deserve double. It says, what you're going through, the Lord exacts of thee less than your iniquity deserves. So what you deserve actually supposed to be more. Job understood that. And that's why he never uttered those words, Lord, why me? Because he knows it should be more. Lord, it should have been somebody else, because he knows it should be more. He never said, well, I don't think I deserve this, because he knows it should be more. And you should absolutely understand that when you're going through what you're going through, that Lord, I know it should be more, and because of that, blessed be the name of Yahweh. Always remember that. Doesn't matter what you're going through, blessed be the name of Yahweh, because Lord, I know I should be going through more. Your mercy sought it so that I don't go through more. Thank you, Yahweh. So blessed be the name of Yahweh. Deuteronomy 32 and verse 4.
Reading from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 4. He is a rock. His work is perfect. For all his ways are judgment, a God of truth and without iniquity. Just and right is he.
So he says his work is perfect. Whatever his judgments are, they're perfect. Whatever decisions that he made and consulted in the heavens concerning your life, it's perfect. All his ways are judgment. It says a God of truth and without iniquity, just and right is he. Every decision that he makes for our life, just and right is he. You may not understand it, but just and right is he. You may not comprehend it, but just and right is he. Your judgment might seem like it's too much to bear, but just and right is he. You better utter the words, blessed be the name of Yahweh, whatever you're going through. You feel like you can't continue anymore, blessed be the name of Yahweh, just and right is he. Understand that. It will help you to stomach what you're going through. The gentleman that I just read that news report about, he understood that. Things may change, but the laws of God doesn't change. His life may have changed, but the laws of God, you can't take a vacation from that. Yes, take time to grieve, and I'm not saying don't take time to grieve and time to process things and to get yourself together, of course. But don't quit the truth because of that. His ways of judgment, they are perfect. Just and right is he. Psalms 19 and verse 9. Psalms 19 and verse 9.
Reading from the book of Psalms, chapter 19 and verse 9. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgment of the Lord are true and righteous altogether.
Altogether, his judgments are righteous. You need to repeat that back to him whenever you feel like you're going through something unbearable, something you can't deal with, something that's just too tough, too rough. He says his judgments are righteous and true altogether, meaning all of them. When you start to repeat that, Israel, and you start to understand that in the depths of your spirit, the Lord then moves on your behalf to make your story a success story, because you understand the dynamics of how he works. He says his ways are above our ways, as the heaven is higher than the earth, right? But now you stand to begin to understand some of his ways. when you start engulfing yourself in some of his ways, that all of his judgments are righteous and true altogether, all of them. That's when the Most High could actually work with you. When you realize his judgments, all of them are clean. All right? The fear of the Lord is clean. Let's go to 2 Samuel 11 and verse 2. All right? The book of 2 Samuel, chapter 11 and verse 2.
Reading from the book of Samuel, chapter 11 and verse 2.
2 Samuel.
Sorry, 2 Samuel, chapter 11 and verse 2. And it came to pass in an evening tide that David arose off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon.
Wow. So David stayed from over in his palace area, right? On top of the roof area, peeped over and realized there was a young lady over there taking a bath. And he said, wow, that woman is very, very beautiful. Everything in the right place, everything, being the way it should. That woman is absolutely beautiful to look at, right? Read verse 3. Mind you, this is the king we're talking about. There's a saying, it's good to be the king because the king gets whatever he wants, right? But there's consequences, right? Read on.
Verse 3. And David sent and inquired after the woman.
He said, fetch me this woman here. I need to know, who is she? Who is she? She's a fan of me, or is a fan of she? I wonder who she be. That's what he's there. I wonder who she be. Right? Read on.
And one said, is not this Bathsheba, the son of Eliam?
So they found out her information. They said that is Bathsheba. All right? That is Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam. Come on.
The wife of Uriah the Hittite.
He said, but wait, that's Uriah. That's soldier Uriah's wife. That is soldier Uriah's wife, Bathsheba. Sister Bathsheba. Verse 4.
Verse 4. And David sent messengers and took her, and she came in unto him, and he lay with her.
So he sent some soldiers to go. All right? Fetch me this woman. Right? I don't care if she's married to soldier Uriah. I'm the king. Bring her here. I just want to have a conversation with her. But it says, she came in unto him, and she did what? And he what?
Lay with her.
He laid with her. This is adultery right here. He laid with another man's wife. Read on.
For she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned unto her house.
So she cleaned up herself after she did the act. All right, as the law says. Imagine that. You're here trying to keep the law while breaking the law. Imagine Leviticus 15 says after you do the you got to wash from head to toe, purify yourself in your uncleanness, right? She purified from her uncleanness, washed herself after doing a dastardly act like that, and then went back to her house. Verse 5.
Verse 5. And the woman conceived.
Oh, she got pregnant off of laying with the king, David. Read on.
And sent and told David and said, I am with child.
The same messengers that sent to fetch her, she sent back a message with them same messengers and said, let the king know I am pregnant and I am now with child. Verse 6.
Verse 6. And David sent to Joab, saying, send me Uriah the Hittite. And Joab sent Uriah to David.
So it says, call soldier Uriah for me, please. Just call him. I got something I need to say to him. Read on.
Verse 7. And when Uriah was come unto him, David demanded of him how Joab did, and how the people did, and how the war was prospered.
So he says, soldier Uriah, tell me something. I have a question. How is the war progressing right now? How are the men actually getting through with the progress during the war right now, because they were warring, right? And in this question he's asking him this question for another follow-up command that he's about to give him. So he wants to know, tell me how Joab did, who's one of the captains, right? How the people did. Come on, verse 8.
Verse 8. And David said to Uriah, go down to thy house and wash thy feet. And Uriah departed out of the king's house, and there followed him a mess of meat from the king.
So the king sent a gift. It says a mess of meat. It means he sent like a gift his way, right? Some food, some delicacies, right? Sent it down to his house. Verse 9.
Verse 9. But Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of the Lord.
So it says soldier Uriah, right? He slept at the door of the king. He didn't go home. He slept at the door of the king. Come on.
And went not down to his house.
He did not go down to his house. Verse 10.
Verse 10. And when they had told David, saying, Uriah went not down unto his house, David said unto Uriah, comest thou not from thy journey? Why then didst thou not go down unto thine house?
So they told King David, saying, soldier Uriah didn't go to his house, you know. So then King David said, soldier Uriah, didn't you just come from this long journey? Why didn't you go home? Hear what he said in verse 11.
Verse 11. And Uriah said unto David, the ark and Israel and Judah abide in tents.
So now he answered in the way a soldier supposed to answer. He said that the ark, my fellow Israelites, right, and Judah, come on,
abide in tents.
They abide in tents.
And my Lord Joab, and the servants of my Lord.
It says, my Lord Joab. Who is Joab?
The general.
The general. He's the commanding general. All right? Come on, read on.
And the servants of my Lord are encamped in the open field.
In other words, my fellow soldiers, my commanding general, they're in the open field, right? They're engaging in this war. And you want me to go home? I'm not built like that. I'm not wired like that. Read on.
And the servants of my Lord are encamped in the open field. Shall I then go into my house to eat and to drink and to lie with my wife? As thou livest, and as I so liveth, I will not do this thing.
He said, I will not do this thing. As a faithful soldier in the Most High's army, I will not go home. I will not chill out and relax while the war is being engaged and chill out and eat grapes at home and relax. I am not wired in that way. Some of y'all soldiers, are you wired that way? If the king had called you and tell you, man, go home and take a load off, man. Go eat some grapes, relax, Brother Daniel. You ain't got to come out to camp today. You ain't got to come out to do nothing today. Just stay home and eat grapes. What you doing? What you doing, Brother Aitan? If you're wired as a soldier and you know your brothers out there facing hell or high water and you home eating grapes, are you going to do that? Would you feel good in your soul doing that? Let me tell you something. Some brothers would absolutely feel amazing that the king told me. And they would use that. The king told me. The king told me. And they use it as justification. Say, wait. Brother Daniel, what you doing home? The king tell me. The king tell me I could go home. He tell me I could eat grapes. Some people would use that as their but brother soldier Uriah said, as long as you live and your soul live, I cannot and will not do this thing. I'm not wired that way. I'm a soldier. Most people only think of it from King David aspect of it, you know. But soldier Uriah, there's an aspect of this as well. Verse 12.
Verse 12. And David said to Uriah, tarry here today also, and tomorrow I will let thee depart. So Uriah abode in Jerusalem that day and the morrow.
So he said, stay here till tomorrow, all right? And when it comes to tomorrow, you could go and depart, right? So Uriah, he stayed in Jerusalem that day, all right? And the morrow, come on, verse 13.
Verse 13. And when David had called him, he did eat and drink before him, and he made him drunk.
Ah, he made him drunk. He said, I got a drunken this guy. Come on.
And at even he went out to lie on his bed with the servants of his Lord, but went not down to his house.
He didn't go down to his house. He still didn't go down to his house. Come on.
Verse 14. And it came to pass in the morning that David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it by the hand of Uriah.
So he went and put a letter in soldier Uriah's name and sent it to the commanding general. All right. Verse 15.
Verse 15. And he wrote in the letter saying, set ye Uriah in the forefront of the hottest battle, and retire ye from him, that he may be smitten and die.
Wow. So he wrote in the letter saying that soldier Uriah, yes, he should absolutely be in the forefront of the hottest battle, right? So that you retire him and that he may be smitten and that he die. Verse 16.
Verse 16. And it came to pass, when Joab observed the city, that he assigned Uriah unto a place where he knew that valiant men were.
He knew there were some cross, angry, miserable men in that specific location. Men who would smite you just upon first glance. Verse 17.
Verse 17. And the men of the city went out and fought with Joab, and there fell some of the people of the servant of David, and Uriah the Hittite died also.
So soldier Uriah, he died. Now, for a little moment, we tend to just think about, well, what David did and put him in the hottest part of the battle. But soldier Uriah, as a valiant soldier, right? Did he deserve to die? Think hard before you answer that question. What type of soldier was he? Obedient soldier. What does the Lord do with obedient soldiers sometimes? Takes them out. It says in the book of Psalms, when it comes to his faithful servant, it pleases him to take them out, right? At the height of their workmanship. It's a beautiful thing. So before you go off thinking that, well, soldier Uriah didn't deserve it, he died innocently, think of it through the Lord's lenses. The Lord took him out as a faithful soldier during that time. Okay? But now on the flip side of it now, okay, so soldier Uriah died. His close ones, his family, his loved ones, they're mourning him. He died, right? Whatever they're going through, they may feel like it's too tough to deal with, it's too difficult. But, of course, it comes with the territory. As a soldier, you're expected sometimes you may not come back. You're going on a one-way trip. Yes? So they know what comes with the territory. But also, in that enduring in hardships, enduring in judgment, right? Understanding that when things like this happen, loss of life, you're still expected to pick up the pieces and still move on. Now, King David, his part that he played in this whole dastardly act, all right? What verse we at? This part that he played in his dastardly act, 18. Verse 18, watch this.
Then Joab sent and told David all the things concerning the war.
Verse 19.
Verse 19. And charged the messengers, saying, when thou hast made an end of telling the matters of war unto the king, verse 20,
read.
And if so be that the king's wrath arise, And he say unto thee, wherefore approacheth ye so nigh unto the city when ye did fight? Know ye not that they will shoot thee from the wall?
Didn't you know they would shoot from the wall? Why you do such a thing? Verse 26. 26? Sorry, yes, 11. Yeah, jump down to verse 26.
Verse 26. And when the wife of Uriah heard that Uriah her husband was dead.
Oh, so Sister Bathsheba heard that her husband, soldier Uriah, he died in the war. Come on.
She mourned for her husband.
She mourned for her husband. Verse 27.
Verse 27. And when the mourning was past, David sent and fetched her to his house, and she became his wife and bare him a son.
So he married her after, of course, her husband, soldier Uriah, died, and they bore a son. Because remember, she was pregnant. Come on.
But the thing that David had done displeased the Lord.
So the thing that King David did, mind you, the beloved King David, whom the Lord loved, he says, this thing that he did, it displeased the Lord. The Lord was not pleased with that thing that he did. You send a man out to war, deliberately caused him to die, even though it was in the Lord's plan to take his valiant, faithful soldier out, all right, in that perfect time. But still, King David, what you did, the Lord was not pleased with that thing, all right? It displeased the Lord. So some things in this truth, you know, it may happen and you conspired it, you premeditated it, the Lord ain't pleased with that thing. Certain actions still have to come forth from the Lord despite that. Let's go over to 2 Samuel 12. 2 Samuel 12, start from verse 9.
Reading from the book of 2 Samuel chapter 12 and verse 9. Wherefore thou despisest the commandment of the Lord.
You despise the commandment of the Lord, King David, by committing adultery.
To do evil in his sight.
To kill a man, right? And send him to war unjustly so in the hottest part of the battle just to take his wife. Come on.
Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife.
Wow, such a wicked, evil act. Read on.
And hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon.
Verse 10.
Now therefore the sword shall never depart from thine house, because thou hast despised me.
The sword shall never depart from your house, because you have despised me. Come on.
And hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife.
You disregarded my commandments. Verse 11.
Verse 11. Thus said the Lord, behold, I will rise up evil against thee out of thine own house, and I will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbor.
He's going to take your wives, King David, and give them unto your neighbor. Come on.
And he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of the sun.
He's going to lie. They're going to lie with your wives in the open, in the plain open. Verse 12.
Verse 12. For thou didst it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun.
He's going to do it before all of Israel and before the sun, for all to see. Verse 13.
Verse 13. And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord.
So Nathan the prophet, right? Now he's confessing to Nathan. He says, I have sinned against Yahweh. Come on.
And Nathan said unto David, the Lord also had put away thine sin.
So he confessed. He said, I have sinned. I have committed adultery. Right? So the Lord, through Nathan, told him that the Lord has put away your sin, King David. Come on.
The Lord also hath put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die.
You're not going to die, King David. You are forgiven. Yes. Verse 14.
Howbeit, because by this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme, the child also that is born unto thee shall surely die.
The Lord Yahweh said that child that is born of you and Bathsheba is going to die. It will absolutely die. That is the judgment and the punishment thereof. So you're not going to die, King David, but that son that's coming forth, that she's pregnant with, is going to die. Because judgment has to be paid. All right? The iniquity has to be atoned for. And that atonement is going to come through the sacrifice of that child. Read on.
Verse 15. And Nathan departed unto his house. And the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife bare unto David, and it was very sick.
That child gets so sick, fever probably went up to 105. That child coming down with sickness. They went to the doctors. They don't know what's wrong with the child. They just can't figure it out. Verse 16.
Verse 16. David therefore beseeched God for the child. And David fasted and went in and lay all night upon the earth.
All night he lay there praying for this child. He's fasting. He's praying. He's crying out to the Lord. He's crying out in a contrite spirit, a broken spirit. He blowing the snot bubbles, right? He's doing all of that. Read verse 17.
Verse 17. And the elders of his house arose and went to him to raise him up from the earth, but he would not. Neither did he eat bread with them.
He wouldn't get up. They tried to lift him up. He wouldn't get up. Say, I'm going to stay here. I'm not going to move. And he did not eat bread with them. Verse 18.
Verse 18. And it came to pass on the seventh day that the child died.
Ah, the child died. They think he was praying against that thing. He was praying that it don't happen. Lord, please don't let this thing happen. Please save the child's life. Please allow the child to get better. But it says, on the seventh day, the child died. Come on.
And the servants of David feared to tell him that the child was dead. For they said, Behold, while the child was yet alive, we spoke unto him, and he will not hearken unto our voices. How will he then vex himself if we tell him that the child is dead?
So we can't tell him that the child is dead, right? When the child was alive and he was fasting and he was praying and he wouldn't get up from himself, we would try to lift him up. He wouldn't move. He wouldn't listen to us when the child was alive. Imagine if we tell him he's dead. How he would actually, what he would do, he might off himself. We don't want him to hurt himself. Well, how are we going to tell him that the child is dead? Verse 20.
Verse 20. Then David arose from the earth and washed and anointed himself and changed his apparel and came into the house of the Lord and worshipped.
And did what?
And worshipped.
And did what?
And worshipped.
And worshipped. He came and he worshipped. Yes, he was going through that tough thing. Yes, it would seem like his life was being ripped to shreds. Yes, it seemed like after sinning against the Most High in that moment and displeasing God to that level, right? He still pulled himself together. Even in the midst of him repenting, him breaking that law, him just getting the wherewithal and mustering up enough energy, says he arose, washed himself, anointed himself, changed his clothes, came into the temple, and he did what? Worshipped. He didn't take time off. He didn't say, y'all ain't gonna see me for the next 6 months. This man cleaned himself up, changed his clothes, and he came to the temple and he worshipped. Read on.
Verse 20. Then David arose from the earth. Then he came to his own house, and when he required, they set bread before him, and he did eat.
Now he started to eat again. They set bread before him, and he started to eat. Read on.
Verse 21. Then said his servants unto him, What thing is this that thou hast done? Thou didst fast and weep for the child, while it was alive. But when the child was dead, thou didst rise and eat bread.
Same thing they were wondering in the congregation. How is you showing up to the Sabbath still? And you're going through that. How is you still dusting yourself off and pulling yourself together? When the child was alive, you were fasting, not eating, not listening to us. We're telling you get off the floor. You're not doing it. But now that the child dead, you pull yourself together and now you anoint yourself. You're keeping the Sabbath. and you're eating bread? Come on.
Verse 22. And he said, while the child was yet alive, I fasted and wept, for I said, who can tell whether God will be gracious to me that the child may live?
He said, who could tell? I tried to pray this thing that it don't happen, and it still happened, so who could tell? You're not going to be able to tell when your tragedy strikes in your life. You don't know what befalls you. For your young brothers, understand, if you got years to go in this truth, if some of you in your 20s right now, you don't know what's going to befall you in your 30s. Some of you in your 30s right now, you don't know what's going to befall you in your 40s. Some of you 40-something right now, you don't know what's going to befall you in your 50s, and so forth and so forth, should you live to see those ages. Right? They were trying to understand, how is it he could pull himself together after all this thing happening to him? And he said, who could tell whether God will be gracious to me that the child may live? In other words, I don't know if the child would have lived or not, but I still did what I needed to do. You won't be able to tell if God is going to answer your prayer. In other words, here's the question. Should you stop serving and keeping the Lord's commandments even if he doesn't answer your prayer? Should you? You should not. Because that shows you weren't serving the Lord for the right reasons. You were serving the Lord just for what he could give you. You're just here for the blessings, the blessings, the blessings. I've been listening to brothers when they talk more about blessings and receiving blessings and blessings and blessings and listen, if this truth is all about just receiving blessings, whoo. If you're in your 20s, your 30s is going to show you something. If you're in your 30s, your 40s is going to show you something. The Lord is going to show you something. If you think this truth is just about receiving blessings. But guess what? Blessings can come after you've endured the trial. He didn't know if the child was going to live or not, right? He didn't know if the Lord would be gracious enough to answer his prayer. Read on, verse 23.
Verse 23. Now he is dead. Wherefore shall I fast?
He says, why should I fast? The child already dead. Read on.
Can I bring him back again?
Can I bring him back again? No, you cannot. Read on.
I shall go to him, but he shall not return to me.
He shall not return to me. The child is gone. Verse 24.
Verse 24. And David comforted Bathsheba his wife.
Comforted his wife. That is what I told you earlier, men. You're going to have broad shoulders, strong shoulders to lift up your family. He comforted Bathsheba and said what? Come on.
And went in unto her, and lay with her, and she bare him a son. And he called his name Solomon, and the Lord loved him.
And the Lord Yahweh loved that son. So now, the Lord turned around what was a very dastardly act. Now, a child is born unto them the right way now, because of course soldier Uriah died, took him out in the heat of the battle. He was a valiant soldier. He wouldn't go against his soldierly duties. He wouldn't go against his soldierly creed, his soldier's creed. But now, in the midst of it, King David did something very unscrupulous. But he repented, got himself together. No matter how far you fall in this truth, you can get yourself together. Doesn't matter what you think you've done. You can turn it around. The Lord can turn it around. You have to endure even in judgment. The Lord give you a judgment. You say, blessed be the name of Yahweh. Don't quit the truth. He comforted Bathsheba. He lay with her. They bore a son. And that son, King Solomon, the Lord loved him so much. Woo! That he was one of the wisest men that ever lived. The Lord can turn around what was a disaster, but it can only happen if you don't leave the truth. That's the only how it's going to happen. It's not going to happen by you taking a break. It's not going to happen talking about, well, I'm going to take a break and I'm going to come back harder, more powerfully. No, that ain't going to happen. You're going to be out of here. All right? You're going to be out of here. Give me verse 25.
Verse 25. And he sent by the hand of Nathan the prophet, and called his name Jedediah, because of the Lord.
Called his name Jedediah. Because of what?
Because of the Lord.
Because of the Lord. Understand that. No other reason but the Lord. That's where he get his name from, Jedediah. Because of the Lord. And we gave our babies names according to what we experience in this truth when it comes to the Lord. The Lord helps, the Lord saves, because of the Lord, right hand of the Lord, strength of the Lord, priest of the Lord, right? That's where he get his name from. Because, in other words, he named his son in reverence of the Lord. It says, because of the Lord. Okay? Good. So now, 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 23.
Reading from the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 23. Are there ministers of Christ? I speak as a fool. I am more in labor, more abundant, in stripes above measure, in prison more frequent, in deaths oft. So
the Apostle Paul, if you understood even the level of the things he faced in this truth, you would get a glimpse as to what the Apostle Paul really went through. Read it from the top again for me.
Are they ministers of Christ?
So, as a minister of Christ, which Paul, the Apostle Paul, was,
I speak as a fool.
Come on.
I am more in labors more abundant, in stripes above measure.
Was Paul boasting here? No, but he's letting you know his resume.
In prison more frequent, in deaths oft.
In prisons more frequent. You know how many times Paul had to go behind bars? Paul had to go behind bars, right? Innocently so, of course. And he spent even up to 3 years appealing to the high court. 3 years! And he never quit on the Lord. Some of you, if you're going for like 1 year or 6 months, you're ready to quit on the Lord. You're praying to the Lord and you realize movement ain't happening. You're ready to quit. Don't you dare quit. Paul appealed to the high court while being imprisoned for 3 years. And as soon as he get out, guess what the first thing he going to do? To carry on the mission. To carry on the mission. The Lord is not going to just allow you to come out just for the sake of coming out for those persons who you either have families who are wrongfully imprisoned or... Understand this. The Lord is not just going to take you out just for the sake of, well, I took you out. He took you out so that you can now employ yourself to the mission. As soon as Paul got out, he continued the mission. All right, so he says, in prisons more frequent, come on, in deaths often, come on, verse 24.
Verse 24. Of the Jews 5 times receive I 40 stripes, save one.
He said, I got my backside whipped in with 40 lashes, save one. 39 lashes on my backside. And I still carried out the mission for the Lord. All right? You remember when Paul got beat up so bad? It was him and who? Barnabas, right? Got beat up so bad that they thought they were dead. And as soon as they healed up, they went right back to the city to bring out the word again. How many of you could do that? The same men that beat you up, you go right back to the same city to bring back out camp again. Just after they stone you and whip you and beat you, you go right back to bring out the word right again. Paul went through that, right? Verse 25.
Verse 25. Thrice was I beaten with rods.
It says, 3 times they beat me with rods. Come on.
Once I was stoned.
You know what a rod is? You know them bamboo rods? They call them canes. When you get your backside whipping with a cane, right? You know, over in Singapore, they still do it, Colonel. They still beat you with cane over there in Singapore. That thing will wet your back, so it will make your back cave in like this. You understand? Read on.
Once I was stoned. Thrice I suffered shipwrecks. A night and a day I have been in the deep.
Wow, night and day I've been in the deep, meaning he been on the sea. And being on the sea for a long time, it could bug you out. Believe that. All right? He suffered shipwreck. The ship turning over. The ship running aground. Right? He suffered all these things. Verse 26.
Verse 26. In journeying often.
In journeying, a lot of journeys on foot. Come on.
In perils of water.
Being on the waters for a very long time. Months and months and months. Come on.
In perils of robbers.
Them man who used to rob them man so fast. Soldier go by. Imagine you're going out to camp. You're going into a new city, right? And some fellas say, hey, who you be? We know you need to come. Guess all you got. They get robbed. Read on.
In peril by mine own countrymen.
He say his own countrymen beat them up. Imagine the men that you know. They know you. And they still beat you up, Brother Daniel. Read on. Because they don't like what you're bringing out. We're going to beat you soft. Read on.
In perils by the heathens. In perils in the city.
So even the heathen used to beat them up too. Read on.
In perils in the wilderness.
Imagine you go on camp, soldier go by, and a Chinese man fly across your face with a flying kick. What up, pie? We don't want you talking about that around here. Don't talk about that around here. Read on.
In perils in the sea. In perils among false brethren.
Wow. He even suffered people coming into the camp, right? And being false brothers. Right? Fooling them into thinking they're brothers. But they just come there to destroy the camp. Verse 27.
Verse 27. In weariness and painfulness. In watchings often. In hunger and thirst. In fasting often. In cold and nakedness.
Wow. So in weariness, painfulness. In watchings often. In hunger, in thirst. And fasting often, in cold and in nakedness. How many of you could suffer that and still truck on in the truth? Verse 28.
Verse 28. Beside those things that are without, that which cometh upon me daily, the care of all the churches.
So hold up. I don't want you to miss this, brothers. Brothers, don't miss this. Why does the Lord choose certain men? Now, the Apostle Paul listed out so many things that he suffered. He suffered beatings, robbings, whippings, hunger, thirst, right? Even if he was fasting, they still get beat up. Imagine you're done weak already, Brother Aitan. You're done weak. You come into a city and they beat you up while you're fasting. You don't have no strength to fight back. The Apostle Paul suffered that. Now, we come to the end of that verse 28 and it says, which cometh upon me daily, meaning these things that suffer daily. It says, on top of that, but the care of all the churches. Why does the Most High pick certain men to go through such affliction and judgments and such a long rap sheet? The answer is right there. Something that the Most High has to put on you. It's right there. It's at the end of the verse. There's something he wants to build in you. Okay, give the brother a hand for me. Give brother Ethan a hand for me. Say it loud for me. He has to build what in you? The care of all the churches. If you don't have the care of all the churches, you will have no empathy, no sympathy for what everyone that comes into the congregation is going through. You got to suffer it so you understand what it feels like to go through what your fellow countrymen go through who come into the truth. God has to build the care of all the churches in you. And for him to do that, he will carry some of you through a lot of things to build the care of the church. Now, if you already have somewhat the care of the churches in you, it's not a lot that he have to, build up in you as far as the care of the churches. But I'm going to tell you something right. For most of the brothers here, the Lord going to have to carry you through some things like what Paul mentioned so that you can build the care of the churches in you. That's the only how it's going to come. You can't just wake up tomorrow morning, yes, the Lord built the care of the churches in me. It comes through going through these things, building the care of the churches so that you have an appreciation for these things, so that you could actually counsel persons. If you don't have the care of the church, like in other words, if you don't have the care of the churches in you, you wouldn't care if a brother is going through something. You wouldn't care. You wouldn't care if a sister is going through something. You would say, man, I'll deal with that whenever. You don't have the care of the churches. But you have the care of the churches when you yourself, you know what it is to suffer some serious things. You know what it is to suffer. You went through it. So every moment that you have is invested into caring for the churches. Right. So for those of you brothers, you're saying, well, I want TOC to grow and grow and grow and grow, and I want TOC to be here, there, and everywhere. You got to develop a care for the churches. And really what you're saying is, I want TOC to grow. And what does that mean? Lord, give me more what? Give me more what? Responsibilities. But responsibilities come with what? There you go. Trials. There you go. So don't ask for it if you can, let you know. Don't say, Lord, I really want TOC to grow, and it comes with more responsibilities, more trials. All right, he got to build the care of the churches in you. What verse we at? Verse 28. Let's jump over to James 1 and verse 12, shall we? James 1 and verse 12.
Reading from the book of James, chapter 1 and verse 12. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation.
You tempted to quit. You're tempted to quit the race. You're tempted to abort the mission. You're tempted to just go back in the world, or to just, give this whole truth stuff a little, pause. It says, blessed are you when you endure that. Read on.
For when he is tired, he shall receive the crowns of life.
When he's tried.
When he is tried, he shall receive the crowns of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him.
When the Lord tries you, he sends some stiff judgment your way. But when you get tried, it says you're going to receive a crown of life should you endure. It says, blessed is the man that endures. That's the only how the blessing is going to come. If you what? Endure. You will get a crown of life, which the Lord has promised to each and every one of you. Should you do what? Endure. You understand that? So you got to, Israel, don't give up. Don't give in. Don't just quit because it gets hard. You need it to be hard because the Lord builds men and women who are resilient through hardship. Don't you ever quit the truth. Don't you ever utter those words ever out your mouth, I think I'm going to just quit for a while. I think I'm just going to pause for a while. Let me just get a break from all of this all for a while, because it goes into the way you deal with your relationships, the way you deal with your marriages. Me and my wife never utter those words ever since we signed that paper. You never hear out of our mouth that D word. Ever. It's not a word that's allowed in our house. We don't utter that. It's not a thought in our mind. We're not wired that way. We wired is like this. A problem comes our way, we're going to navigate around it, and we're going to continue together That's what marriage is, intertwining, together. You stay together. Now, who knows the mystery between the church and Yahushua and marriage? Paul broke it down very eloquently. He said, marriage is a mystery. The same relationship that you share with your wife is the same relationship that Christ have with the church. Good. Will you upset one another? Yes. Will you get on each other's last nerve? Yes. You do it all the time to Yahushua. How many times brothers crash out in this truth and Yahushua is like, oh my gosh, again. Does Yahushua have grace and mercy with you? Yes. Are you supposed to have it with your wife? Yes. Are you supposed to have a set amount? Oh, this is the last time. Otherwise, I'm done with you. Does God treat you like that? That this is the last time? No, if that was the last time, we would have all been dead. Don't treat each other the way the Most High wouldn't treat you. Don't do it. If he has patience with you, have patience in your trial. Hold on. Tighten your grip a little bit more. Stay steadfast in the commandments. Don't abort. God will keep his promise. He said he's a creator, a faithful creator. He's faithful. You must believe the promises, though. Revelation 2 and verse 10.
Reading from the book of Revelations, chapter 2 and verse 10.
Come on.
Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried. And you shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life.
Be faithful unto death. Be faithful unto death. Don't let anything stop you from being faithful, not even death. Be faithful even up until death. You understand that? So that is how faithful you should be. That even up until death, you maintain your stance in this truth. You never give up in this truth. Even in judgment, you endure. You're going through it, you endure. You're crying yourself at night, you still endure. Wipe your tears, still show up, handle your responsibilities for the truth, but never say, I'm just going to take a break from all of this. That means you're aborting the mission. That's the beginning stages of you, the Lord taking you out of here. Give me verse 10. Did you read verse 10? Okay, good. Give me verse 11.
Revelations 2 verse 11. He that had an ear, let him hear what the Spirit said unto the churches. He that overcometh shall not be hurt of the second death.
He that overcomes, in other words, he that endured, he that didn't give up, he that didn't abort the race, he that didn't quit the truth, he that stayed steadfast, even in judgment. Don't let judgment be the thing that takes you out of the truth. Judgment is the thing that is supposed to maintain you in the truth. Why? When you receive your judgment, Israel, what are you supposed to say? Blessed be the name of Yahweh. When you receive it, that's the beginning stages of him taking you out of it. We opened up the class with that first book in Psalms that says, he delivers the righteous out of all of their afflictions. But you must begin by worshiping him at a higher level, even in the midst of your judgment. Whatever you go through, you know, people can't see you at night when your heart is soft and you're crying at night, and only you know the pain, Israel. But when you understand that judgment must begin at the house of the Lord, it reaffirms your confidence that why not us? We must go through it first. We must feel the pain first. But blessed be the name of Yahweh. That's the beginning stages of the Lord turning it around for you. And don't get in that waiting game with, Lord, it's been a year, nothing ain't do yet. Don't get like that. Paul had to wait 3 years before he got out of prison and continued the mission. But while he was in there, he wasn't thinking, I'm going to give up. As soon as they open up these gates, I ain't going to just quit with all this true thing. No, the Lord took him out of there in order to continue the mission. That's why the Lord took him out. For a purpose. So understand, each of you have a purpose. It is for the Lord. That is why you need to stay in the truth. You cannot fulfill your purpose if you leave the truth. If you leave your congregation. If you leave, you give up on your brothers, you give up on your sisters, you cannot complete your purpose. Again, if you give up on the truth, you give up on your brothers, you give up on your sisters, you leave from amongst them, you cannot complete your God-given purpose, your God-given mission. All right? So think about that, Israel. We're going to end the class there today. I pray that each and every one of you today, that this class has opened your eyes, that no matter what, even in the midst of judgment, that you will worship the Lord. The men of the Lord absolutely went through judgment, and they still worship the Lord, even in the midst of going through what they went through. I pray that this is something that will boost your confidence, boost your morale, boost your spirit. For those of you that are thinking you were about to quit, just right at the edge of quitting, all those thoughts came across your mind, now is the chance to not quit. Now is the time to never, ever, ever, ever let those thoughts go through your mind ever again. Never quit, Israel. Our praises. So, we want to thank you for joining us today. Israel, we love you. Israel, that's why we got classes like this, to reaffirm your confidence in the Most High. Don't you ever quit. I know the tears, Israel. The tears are real. And you feel like no one understands. But the captain understands. So I'm here with you. I'm bearing your burdens with you. These classes, that's why they are for you. All praises. Yes? So we want to give all praises, honor, glory to the Most High, Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, who the world refers to as Jesus Christ. We thank you for joining us today. And Israel, stay motivated. We got the Feast of Tabernacles upcoming. It starts tomorrow at sundown. Stay motivated. Stay in the spirit. All right. To all those persons across the world right now, you're watching this, I pray that your confidence is reignited. Your fire is relit. And that you continue on the mission for the Most High. Never quit and never give up. All praises. With that, we're going to close out. Thank you for giving your contributions and your donations and your offerings. If you want to do so and the Lord has moved your spirit to do so, the information is in the description bar below where you can see. For those who are overseas, you have PayPal. For those who are local here on the island of St. Kitts, you have National Bank Mo Banking. Whatever the Lord implores on your heart and on your spirit to give, do so with a willing spirit, because the scripture says there is no good that can come to anyone that does not give their alms. But it also says, let your alms go together with righteousness. So when you give your alms, be sure to also keep the Lord's commandments. It says the alms delivereth from death. Alms can save you, yes. But you need to let your alms go together with you keeping God's commandments. All praises. So with that, Israel, we're going to close out. We love you, Israel. Stay tuned. We got the opening of Feast of Tabernacles coming tomorrow. Let's give it up for the Most High for that. And tomorrow at just before sundown, check us out. We'll be streaming live from In Nature in the Wilderness, where we'll be going live for the opening of Feast of Tabernacles. All praises. So I'm going to see you then, Israel. See you tomorrow just before sundown. All praises to the Most High. Shalom.